Hello everyone, today is 6th of September. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Good morning Rohidi, good morning Rohit, good morning Santosh, Pallavi, Aditya, Rohit, Sabavat, good morning Santalakshmi, and yes, good morning to everybody. Now guys, starting up with the newspaper analysis for today. First of all, let's take the overview of the articles. By the way, friends, into the today's newspaper analysis, we will be taking up all the articles from the Hindu newspaper as well as the good articles from the Indian Express Explained section also we will be taking up. Now guys, first of all, taking up the overview, and you can download all the PDFs of the articles that we will be discussing here into the video from our Telegram channel. Now, first of all, if we see the articles from the Indian Express Explained section, the first article is talking about Nipah virus. So Nipah in the time of COVID, we will see that what is this Nipah virus and all the issues related to it we will be seeing. Then the below article guys, how an Apple satellite phone might work. Basically it is a kind of a rumor with respect to the iPhone 13. Fine, nothing very important with respect to the UPSC has been given. Then the below article, it is talking about the account aggregator framework which has come after the RBI's directive. So we will be seeing that what it is. Then moving to the Hindu newspaper. So guys, this is the page number 1 of the Hindu newspaper, and here we can see that the first article talks about the surge into the insurgents into the Kashmir, the surge into there are some of the non-state actors which has increased. So we will be seeing with respect to the GS paper number 3 internal security that what has happened. Then guys, again the Nipah virus has been discussed. We will be taking it up along with the Indian Express article. Then after that guys, below articles they are talking about the achievements into the Paralympics. Onto this particular line there is an article, we will be discussing it. Then further moving guys onto the city section, the regional issues etc, it has been mentioned. Nothing very much important with respect to the UPSC examination, you can completely skip it. Then guys, further moving on, we reach to the editorial page. Now the first article, basically it is talking about some of the ethical implications or the ethical issues into the international relations, and very good article for our GS paper number 4, we will be seeing it. Then the below article is talking about the need to revitalize the reservation system in India. We will see what has been provided. Then guys, this particular article, it is talking about basically the death of the Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani into the Kashmir. However, with respect to the UPSC, much of substance has not been there. Then guys, this article, it is talking about the performance of the participants into the Paralympics in Tokyo. So we will see this particular article what has been provided with the perspective of social justice. Then this article onto the next page, the judicial role in improving lawmaking, provides that how the judiciary can play an important role in order to improve the condition of the parliament in India. We will see this article. Then the below article, it is talking about the national monetization pipeline. Then guys, further moving on, now onto the page number 8, the first article, again it is talking about the aggressive infiltration that could start into the state. We will see that what it is. Then basically the president had said that a good teacher is a nation builder. I believe that you also agree with this thing. Then guys, this article, it is talking about the logistic agreement that will be signed with the Russia. We will see that what it is all about. Then this article, below article, it is talking about the Supreme Court which is giving a nudge to the government with respect to the appointment. So we will be seeing this article also. Then further moving on guys, the page number 9, it is majorly containing the political news. However, nothing with respect to the UPSC has been there. Fine, you can skip this particular page. Then onto the page number 10 guys, the fake vaccines etc, such kind of thing has been there. Fine. Then this particular article, revise nursing council's clause for the disabled, it is also talking about some of the issues with respect to the disabled population. We will see this article. Then onto the world page guys, the situation evolving with respect to the Taliban etc has been mentioned. Now this article, it is talking about a kind of a confrontation that is coming between the China and the Taiwan. We will see this article. Then the today, it is the MoneyWise page which contains the advice on to the investing, mutual fund etc. It is not important for UPSC. Today business page is not there because it is Monday. So guys, that is all about the articles today, and now let's discuss all these articles one by one. Now guys, first of all, taking up the GS quote for today. So today we will be taking the quote from the Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of the US. He says, information is currency of democracy. Now guys, as into an economy, the money is the currency, and the flow of currency depends that how much vibrant an economy will be. Into a similar direction, into a democracy, it is the flow of information which will make a democracy vibrant, resilient and constructive. More information flow will be there, more citizen empowerment will come, and more citizen empowerment will come, more deep rooted and meaningful a democracy will become. So therefore, rightfully it has been said that the information is the currency of democracy, and whenever the government is making an attempt to restrict the information, what government is doing? Government is undermining the democracy. Into the context of India, guys, we can see that the Right to Information Act and its successful application is a step which has further enhanced the flow of information. So guys, we can utilize all this particular understanding into the GS paper number 2 as well as into the GS paper number 4, because in both of them the transparency and information has been mentioned. So that is all about the GS code for today, and now let's discuss the first article. Meanwhile, Akanksha, Nagarjun, Anir, good morning to you all. Now taking up the first article, guys, the first article, it has been taken up from the Indian Express Explained section, and it will be important for our GS paper number 3 under the topic of economy and the banking reforms. Now into this article, the account aggregator framework has been mentioned. What it is, we will discuss that thing, but before that I will give you one example to make this particular thing very clear. See friends, we all need loan for the different kind of needs, fine, and basically the loan or the credit availability plays a very important role into any economy. Now the loan, there could be the big ticket loans, big loans, and there could be the small ticket loans, the small loans for the less amount of money. Now when the big ticket loan is concerned, you need to keep some collateral, you need to keep some mortgage. For example, you are taking a loan for you are taking a house loan. Now guys, when you take a house loan, let's say of 1 crore rupees, so for that particular loan, the bank will be keeping the house that you are going to purchase as a collateral or as a mortgage. Fine. Then the other category of loans are the small ticket loans. Now these loans are the personal loans or the loans for your working capital and all such kind of things, and these loans are not of that much of amount. Suppose I'm a shopkeeper and I need 50,000 rupees for my work, for my business. Now that will be an example of a small ticket loan. Now when the small ticket loans are concerned, many a times without the collateral, without a mortgage, they are also given by the bank, but bank sees your net worth. Fine, it will see your credit behavior, it will see the savings that you are having into your various accounts. Now guys, the net worth, it means that suppose I am having some of LIC policy, I am having some of shares, some of the mutual fund, some other properties I am having. So well, you will calculate, well, you will collect them, my net worth will be coming out. Then my credit behavior, fine, what are my consumption patterns, if I am having a credit card or not, if I am having a credit card, whether I am paying its bill on time or not, it shows my credit behavior, the saving I am having. Now on to this particular basis, you can avail a kind of a small loan. Now guys, taking one example, this is here you can see that he is Ramu. Now Ramu needs money, he needs a working capital loan for his business, and Ramu goes to the bank that you please give me the loan. Now obviously bank needs to see all his net worth, credit behavior, saving, etc. So bank will ask the Ramu that okay, you bring all the documents by which we can know that what your net worth, your credit behavior and your savings are. Now what Ramu will do? Ramu will go to his own bank, he will get a printout of his passbook, he will get a printout of all the equities he are having, all the LIC he is having, and this will be entire cumbersome process. He will take all those documents and will again go to the bank and will show them. Now the bank will testify each of that particular document that whether the Ramu has provided the correct information or not. Now guys, you can see that this entire process will be a lot of time taking process, and into the time when the bank might sanction the money to the Ramu, it might be a possibility that Ramu's need for that particular loan might not be there. So this is the present system that is going on. So therefore guys, what has now decided? Now it has been decided that we will be coming out with the account aggregator framework. Now into this account aggregator framework, we will be coming out with a arrangement or a platform where there will be the account aggregators. What they will do, they will be having a kind of an access with respect to the financial information of the people, and they can directly provide, these companies or these organizations can directly provide that particular information to a bank or to a financial company which is seeking the advice. You don't need to manually provide the information to the bank or to a financial institution when you are taking a loan. Guys, what happens? You are having a Bheem app or a UPI app. Now UPI is a platform which transfers your money into another person's account. Similarly, the account aggregator, it will be a platform which will transfer your financial information to a bank or to a financial entity which needs it. And as it is being transferred by an account aggregator, basically there is no need to testify that particular thing, and within milliseconds or seconds all that particular information will be transferred. So basically the time will be saved, the authentication etc is not to be done. So account aggregator, these are basically the platforms to share your financial data. Again, I'm saying the platform to share your financial data into a secured manner. Now guys, what had happened? Basically 8 of India's major bank, that is the State Bank of India, ICICI, Axis, IDFC, Kotak Mahindra, HDFC, IndusInd, Federal Bank, they have joined these account aggregator network. It means that these 8 banks will also be playing the role of an account aggregator, and into this particular direction the Reserve Bank of India had given them the license. One more important thing, who gives the license for the account aggregator? The Reserve Bank of India. Now guys, when we talk about the account aggregator, it has been given the definition of a non-banking financial company which is engaged into the business of providing the services of retrieving or collecting financial information relating to the customer. So their business will be the providing financial information. Now when we talk about this account aggregator framework, it has been created by an agreement that has happened. Basically it is a inter-regulatory decision. So it means that there are many of the regulatory bodies which had come together and has signed this particular framework. So here there is the RBI, then there is the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. Fine. So all these have signed this particular agreement. And guys, if you can recall, just onto the Saturday we have discussed the FSDC, that is the Financial Stability and Development Council. I told you that FSDC is an organization which is chaired by the finance minister, and into this FSDC the representative of all the regulators are there, and they see that how we can make the financial system more robust. So basically the FSDC has recommended that such kind of account aggregator framework should be created, and after the recommendation of the FSDC this particular arrangement had come out. Fine. And from 2016 this account aggregator framework was developing. Now guys, when we talk about this account aggregator, into this particular thing there will be the 3 entities that will be involved. One will be the account aggregator, other will be the FIP. Now the FIP means the financial information provider, and the third will be the FIU. It means the financial information user. Now here we will be seeing that who all will be. Now guys, this was the bank, okay, and as the bank was asking the information, fine, this bank will be the FIU, that is the financial information user. He will use the information. Now as Ramu need to show his information, okay, basically he will be showing the information that how much money he is having into the different bank accounts, how much equity etc he is having. So basically from the institution from which he is showing the money, they will be the information provider, and in between there will be the account aggregator who will be playing a role into the transfer of this particular information. So account aggregator will transfer the financial information. Now it has been provided that the data that will be transferred through the account aggregator, it will be an encrypted data. So it will be a kind of a data which cannot be tampered in between. Moreover, these AAs, they are not allowed to store this data. They cannot process this data for their own particular convenience, and they cannot sell the customer's data. No financial information accessed by the AA from the FIP should reside with the AA. They cannot store information. They have to provide that particular thing to the ultimate user. Fine. That is the bank here. Now this particular thing will also be important because guys, we are talking about the data privacy bill, and into the data privacy the user's data is to be safeguarded. So that data privacy clause has also been there into this AA. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we will be moving to the next article, a very good article, and guys, a direct question could be asked into the prelims examination as well as into the mains examination. So that is all. Moving to the next. Now guys, this particular article taken up from the Indian Express newspaper as well as the Hindu newspaper, both we have clubbed, and it will be important with respect to the GS paper number 2 under the topic of health, as well as into the PT also the question could be there. Now what has happened again, the Nipah outbreaks have been seen into the Kerala, and even a 12-year-old person or a child has also died, and there are many of the health workers who have been contacted this Nipah virus. Now we will understand that what is this Nipah virus all about. Guys, when we talk about the Nipah virus, this particular virus was first reported into the Malaysia in 1998, and then into the Singapore into the 1999, and after that into the Southeast Asia. This particular virus has spread to many of the countries. When we talk about India, in India, the notable numbers of Nipah virus has been cases have been there into the West Bengal as well as into the Kerala. And in Kerala, large number of Nipah cases came in 2018 as well as in 19. Now, first of all, the name of Nipah virus. The name of this virus comes from a village into the Malaysia. Now this was the village, Nipah village was there, where the first person who got the Nipah virus, he was there and he died by that particular thing. So from our village of Malaysia, Nipah virus name comes. Now this particular, it is a zoonotic virus. Being a zoonotic virus means that it transmits from animal to human. Zoonotic virus means that natural host are not the humans, natural host is some animal. When we talk about the COVID-19, it is also a zoonotic virus because the natural host is said to be a bat. So here, who is the natural host? Natural host is actually the fruit bat, which is also called as the flying fox. Now guys, how this particular virus it comes to the human? Basically, there is a fruit bat which is the natural host. Now the fruit bat basically will be transmitting this particular virus to the animals such as the pigs, dogs, cats, goats, horses, sheep. So the bat will be transmitting it to the animal, and as these animals come into the contact of the human, this particular virus will be transmitted to the human. Now either you can, by the consumption of this particular animal, the virus can transmit out to you, or basically from the saliva droplets of the animal, or from the urine of the animal, or from any such kind of a bodily secretion, this particular virus can be transmitted to the human. Now whether this particular virus can further transmit from one human to another human, this particular thing is not very much clear. There are some of the studies which say that yes, it can spread from one human to another, whereas some other studies say that no, it cannot spread from one human to another. So therefore, with respect to the transmission, human to human transmission is not very much clear. Fine. So this is the way into which this particular transmission happens. Now, when we talk about the Nipah virus, basically this virus spreads more slower than the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And guys, there is actually a relation between the spreadability as well as the mortality. Okay, where the virus, whoever will spread very fast, the mortality will be low, and the virus which will spread very much low, the mortality will be more. Okay, now the Nipah virus, as it is spreading very much less, so therefore the mortality becomes very much high. And guys, the mortality, it stays from 70% to 95%. In some instances it has been seen that more than the 95% of people who contacted this virus, they had died. Now when you talk about the SARS-CoV-2, guys, here again this particular correlation we can see that the virus spreads very much fast, but the mortality rate is low. Okay, and the mortality rate is around 1.5% to 1% just. So this is one connection between the virus which is there. Now the Nipah virus, it spreads slowly, but therefore it can kill large number of people, which is the biggest concern. In 2018, the Kerala had seen this particular Nipah virus, and at that point of time they did not had much experience as how this particular virus is to be dealt. And into that particular time, the protocol for the Ebola virus, which was being reported into the Africa, that was adopted, and this protocol of Ebola virus turned out successful, and a large number of cases were avoided into the Kerala. Now guys, at the present time, it is being said that already the COVID-19 protocols are there into the place, and already the availability of the PP kits, gloves, masks, etc. is there to the healthcare workers. Moreover, the people had become more sensitized after the COVID-19. So therefore, the COVID-19 will be playing a positive role into the Nipah virus, because already a responsible kind of consciousness had come because of the COVID-19. So that is all guys about the Nipah and how it can make a cocktail with the COVID or not. Now guys, when we talk about the virus, into any kind of virus, R naught, it is an important thing. Now what is this R naught? R naught is a kind of a rate which tells us that how much one person will infect the other person. If any particular virus is having a R naught of more than 1, let's say that R naught of 3, then it means that one person who has been infected, he will infect 3 people. These 3 people will then further infect the 3 people. So therefore, whenever the R naught or the R rate is more than 1, it means that more and more people will be infected into the times to come. However, into the Nipah virus, the R rate is just 0.48. It means that after a few days, this particular virus cases goes down and it comes under a control. So this is all about with respect to the Nipah virus. When we talk about the R naught rate of the COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2 virus, guys, it has been seen that it goes many a times 2.1 or 2.5, and because of that only this particular transmission is happening. So that is all, guys, with respect to much of the nitty-gritties with respect to it. Please do utilize all this information if it asks into the examination. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article taken up from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about the key to revitalizing the India's reservation system, and therefore it will be important for our GS paper number 2, social justice. Now, what has happened? Guys, it has been provided that when we see the Indian constitution into the Constitution of India, the affirmative action has been provided. First of all, friends, when we use affirmative action means the set of policy actions that a government is taking in order to provide the justice and equity to some of the disadvantaged section. The affirmative actions, it includes the reservation, providing the scholarship, providing the preferential treatment. So reservation is a tool under the affirmative action. Fine. I will just insist you that rather than using the reservation, use the word affirmative action. Now, the affirmative action provision has been provided into the constitution, particularly under the article number 1516. This is a very good thing that has been done by the constitutional makers, and the constitutional makers thought that the historical injustices that had happened to many of the people, those will be rectified by providing these affirmative action. But guys, today we see that these particular things have not translated into an equalization of the life chances. Fine. Still, there are many of the people who have not got any advantage of the reservation. Either they have not altogether come under the reservation umbrella, or even if they had come under the reservation umbrella, they had not been given the much of the advantages. What has happened, guys? Suppose this is one particular section, that is the OBCs. Okay. Now into the OBC, we see that there are large chunk of OBCs who never get any kind of advantage. Guys, into this particular direction, it has been said, therefore there is a problem of reification that comes here. Now, what is this problem of reification? Problem of reification means that it is a problem of ambiguity. Sometimes what you do that, okay, I have taken an ABC decision, and by this ABC decision, the problem that was existing has been solved. Okay, now by this particular ABC decision, though some 5 or 10% problem might have been solved, but still the 90 to 95% problem is not solved. So what happens? Into your decision, a kind of an ambiguity is there. Some you will be just seeing the success that has been there, and you will ignore the failures that have been there. So what is being done? Same thing is being done into the reservation policy of India. What we have done, we have given the reservation to the OBC caste, and nearly 27% reservation has been given. Obviously, some of the sections into the OBCs, they have got much more advantages, but at the same time, there are large number of sections which don't have got the advantages. But the government as well as the ruling parties, they just see onto the success, and they said that the reservation policy is successful, we don't need to do anything. But guys, actually there is an ambiguity, because the success is there, but at the same time failure is also there, then the failure is being overlooked. Now, it is being said that when we talk about the reservation that has been given to the OBCs into the India, according to the Justice G. Rohini report, find the interim report that has come, it is being provided that basically the 97% of the central OBC quota benefit, they have just went to 25% of the caste. You can see that the 75% of the caste into the OBCs, they did not got any of the advantage. Guys, if you don't know, approximately 2700 caste are there into the OBC, and just 25% of them got the 97% of benefit. After that, it has been provided that 983 OBC communities, or 37% of the total, they have zero representation in both central government jobs as well as into the admission for the central universities. Moreover, just 10% of the OBC communities have accrued nearly 25% of the jobs and admission. So guys, into the reservation also, we can see that what has happened within the OBC, there is a kind of an elite group that has been formed, and they are getting all the advantages of the OBC reservation. So therefore guys, first of all, what we need that there needs to be a kind of a subcategorization between the OBC quota. By the subcategorization, we mean that you identify the different caste within the OBC who will be getting what amount of quota. For example, the caste A, they will have to be given mandatorily 2% of the reservation. Caste B, mandatorily they have to be given like 3% of the reservation. So sub-categorization is very much needed so that everybody who is into the OBC, they can get the benefit. Therefore, guys, it has been provided that first of all, sorry, there is a dire need of having a kind of an accurate data with respect to the socio-economic condition of the different social caste groups. So only when you have the detailed data, you can know their statuses. And into this particular direction, the socio-economic caste census is needed now to be carried. Now, guys, already the socio-economic caste census has been carried into the 2011, but that particular report has not sorry, but that particular report has not been made completely public. So now again a demand has come that the socio-economic caste census is to be completed and it is to be provided. Then, guys, the second thing that comes here, okay. Then the second thing that comes here is that the socio-economic caste census is to be done so that we can see that what is the status of the different caste, what is the advantage that they have got. If they have not given the advantage, we need to provide it. So conduct the socio-economic caste census. By the way, guys, meanwhile the government had provided this particular thing very clearly that we will not be doing any kind of caste census. So government should leave that particular thing and should carry the census. Now, into this particular direction, it has been provided that if we develop a wide variety of context sensitive evidence based policy, then that particular thing can help providing the benefit to the specific groups. Into this thing, there is an example that has been given. Guys, there is the Equal Opportunities Commission into the United States as well as the United Kingdom, and these Equal Opportunities Commission, they are doing two things. Number one, they are making a deprivation index, and onto the basis of this deprivation index, they see that which particular communities have not got the advantage of the government schemes, and therefore what they do, they basically rank the different communities onto a particular deprivation index. Fine, the rank the communities which got much advantages, the rank which got the communities which got the less advantages, and the custom tailored policies are designed for that. For example, this is a deprivation index and this is a rank 1 to 100. Now obviously the person who are onto the rank 1, they are the most deprived people, so for them different policy will be made. Onto the rank 100, they are less deprived people, for them the different kind of policy will be made. Moreover, it has been provided that, guys, they basically into the US and UK, they also take an audit onto the performance of the employers and the educational qualification onto the non-discrimination and the equal opportunities. Fine, and then they basically systematically study them that whether they are doing good or whether they are not doing good. So here we can learn from the US and UK, and we can also establish a kind of an equal opportunity commission in India. So these are some of the reforms that have been suggested into the caste scenario into the India. Basically two takeaways are there. Number one, we need to conduct a caste census to see actual condition. Secondly, we can come out with an equal opportunity commission, and third, the sub categorization is to be done. Now, guys, already the task for the sub categorization has been given to the Justice Rohini Commission, and basically the commission had not submitted its report even after basically given many number of deadlines. So as urgently as possible, the commission also needs to submit its report. So that is all, guys, with respect to it. I hope that you have understood all these aspects, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article, friends, it is basically talking about the judicial role that could be there in improving the lawmaking in India, and this article will be important for our GS paper number 2 under the issues related to the legislature. Fine. Now, basically, we have seen that into the recently concluded monsoon session, the performance of the session was not very much good. The quality of debates have really went down. There are the large number of disruptions which are there. And because of that particular thing, even the Chief Justice of India remarked that the parliament is into the sorry state of affairs. It was said that basically the laws that are being created, these are suboptimal. The laws are of very inferior quality, and the laws are creating a lot of ambiguity. Is it clear? So this, because of this particular thing, the remarks were made, and now the article suggests that the actually judiciary can play a very important role into the transformation of the legislature. First of all, guys, whenever we talk about the functioning of a parliament, we see the functioning onto the basis of number of bill that has been passed by the parliament into one particular session. If more number of bills are passed, we say that the parliament has functioned well. However, if the bills are not passed, we say that the parliament's productivity was not good. But this particular marker is not very much correct. Why? Because guys, many a times the bills are basically being rushed without the proper discussion and without the proper deliberation. Even into the recently concluded budget session, if we see, there were large number of bills were passed, but guys, the average time that was devoted for the deliberation and discussion, it has come down. There were the bills which were being passed into the 4 minute, 12 minute, 8 minutes, 7 minutes, etc. And into this particular thing, obviously we can see that on to the later stages, that bill will be having many of the loopholes. The bill will be having many of the deficiencies, and because of that particular deficiency, an ambiguity will come, and because of that ambiguity, many a times the citizens' fundamental right will get impacted. Many a times the citizens' liberty will be curtailed. And even into the past, we have seen that many a times ill-thought bills bring a problem into the later stages. So therefore, the parliament's evaluation should not be done by the number of bills passed, but by the quality of debate that was done onto a particular bill. And into that particular thing, guys, that particular thing has went down. And even we have seen one particular article few days back also, where we were critically analyzing the productivity of parliament, and we see that within few minutes the bills are being passed. Now it is being provided that the legislators, they need to keep in mind that they are the representatives of the people, and they have a duty of care. Whenever the parliamentarian is voting onto a particular bill, the duty of care is not to be kept into the mind. Fine. And this particular thing is needed to be there. The parliamentarians, they need to see that what will be the implication of the law which is being passed into the long term, whether the expert evidence has been there onto a particular law or not, and even when they are completely satisfied, they need to pass a particular bill. So this particular issue has been there. Now guys, into the Constitution of India, there are many of the detailed provision with respect to make sure that the parliament and state legislatures are passing the good bills and the good law. Now into this particular thing, number one provision that is there into the parliament, so into the constitution, it is said that, first of all, I will explain you a concept that whenever a bill is put to vote, we go for a voice vote. Into the voice vote, people will either say ayes or will say nay. I mean that yes, we are into the favor. Nay means no, we are not into the favor. So the voice vote is done. However, guys, sometimes there is so much of ruckus that is into the parliament, so much of noise is there into the parliament, that it is not clear that how many yes A's or how many nays are there. So into this particular thing, there is a provision into the rule, into the procedure of the house, that you then need to go and you need to register the vote. Okay. Now the registration of the vote will be there. There will be a vote recording machine, and onto that particular machine, the vote will be recording. But guys, many a times into the house, they don't follow this particular thing. Even you just see that what is the type of noise that is there, still the bills are being passed onto the basis of voice vote. So therefore, it is being said that there might be certain number of bills onto which actually the majority was not there. Actually, more people might be saying no, but because of the noise, that particular thing might not have been there. So therefore, guys, actually the recording of the vote needs to be taken up. Now into this particular thing, guys, we can take the example that of the farm laws. So basically, when the farm laws were being passed into the Rajya Sabha, fine, at that point of time, it was said that it is very much noisy here. We cannot hear whether the yes and no's, what are their numbers. So therefore, a demand was made by the opposition party that you should record that particular vote. But that demand was not listened by the house. Such kind of things are going against the constitution. You don't need to do that. After that, it is being provided that next thing is that introducing the bill as the money bill in order to bypass the Rajya Sabha. Now the article number 110 had specifically provided the 7 areas or the 7 parameters onto which a bill can be classified as a money bill. But here what is happening into the Rajya Sabha, basically such kind of things is not being done, and the speaker is playing a kind of a partisan role here. So therefore, such kind of thing is also bad, and we need to control it. Guys, into the Aadhaar bill, it has been seen that the Aadhaar bill was not technically a money bill, but still it was introduced as a money bill. So this is again one kind of problem that is coming here. So therefore, here the judiciary can play a very important role. How the judiciary can play an important role? Number one, guys, basically the judiciary whenever a kind of a bill is not being deliberated, it is not being discussed, the judiciary can come into the place. Whenever a particular bill is challenged into the court, what the judiciary does, judiciary just not reads that particular law, but also sees that when the law was being passed, what was the deliberation that was going on, what was the debates that were carried, and by reading that transcript of that particular debate, the judiciary says that okay, whether the law is constitutional or not. So therefore, whenever a judiciary is finding that a law has been challenged, and if the deliberation was not good, debate was not good, what judiciary can do, judiciary can struck that particular law. Now, there is an example that has been given into, that is of the case of a Indian Hotel and Restaurant Association case. Now, into this particular case, actually, guys, what happened? There was a law that was introduced that below the 3-star hotels, the dance performance will be banned. The dance performance can be done only into the 3-star hotels and up. Now, the judiciary said that this particular discrimination is not very much correct. Why? Because judiciary said that you have violated the law of equity. Moreover, when this particular law was passed into the house, at that point of time, you did not had enough of the data. The deliberations was not good, which can show that actually the law has been passed into the good spirit. So therefore, guys, it has been provided that judiciary needed to take this active step so that the lawmakers, they are reprimanded, they become more responsible. Second thing, guys, that has been provided here is that judiciary can also make a important role by using the presumption of constitutionality doctrine. Now, what is this presumption of constitutionality doctrine? Guys, I'll explain you this particular doctrine. See, there is a particular law, and this particular law has been challenged into the Supreme Court that the law is violative. Now, guys, the Supreme Court can give a benefit of doubt to the law. They can say that okay, we will not be directly be striking this particular law, and we will presume that the constitutionality has been adopted. We will presume that the lawmaker has made it into a good sense. So the presumption of constitutionality is a kind of a doctrine which is invoked by the Supreme Court when the Supreme Court is not striking the law. And basically, whenever a bill is challenged into the Supreme Court, the parliamentarians or the basically Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, they want that the Supreme Court should use the presumption of constitutionality and should not struck a law. Now, it is being provided, guys, here into this particular article that in order to whether to invoke the presumption of constitutionality or not, what they can do, the Supreme Court can see the deliberation into the parliament, whether if the deliberation has been good, if the deliberation has been better, what they can do, they can give the presumption of constitutionality. So therefore, this will also be serving as an incentive for the lawmakers, that lawmakers will be knowing this particular thing, that if we will do the good debate, if we'll do the good deliberation, then laterwards, if this particular bill will be challenged, Supreme Court will give us the presumption of constitutionality and our law will be saved. So into this particular manner, here the judiciary can play an important role. Fine. After that, guys, next thing here, it has been provided that after that, the CJI even said that the legislator needs to be reformed from within. Okay, this is the important thing that needs to come, that is themselves, the legislators, they need to be more sensitive and they should not waste the times into the disruptions, rather they should engage into the deliberations. Fine. Now, into this thing, guys, even there are some other reforms that we can suggest apart from this particular article. I am suggesting it from my own side. If you believe, you can take it, otherwise not. Guys, there is also the article number 105 and article number 194. Now, article 105 and 194, they are talking about the privileges of the members of the house. Now, these particular articles, guys, actually are not talking about any kind of privileges. Okay, it has not been codified, just the privileges have been given to the members, but they have not been codified. So therefore, we need to amend the article 105 and 194, and we just need to provide the objective privileges. Many a times the parliamentarians, they are creating the ruckus into the house and they said that it is our privilege. So such codification of article 105 and 194 is to be done so that undue advantage of the privileges is not taken. Then, guys, secondly, we can provide that the role of the ethics committee also needs to be further redesigned. There is the ethics committee into the US Congress, and guys, there the ethics committee plays such an important role that there is a kind of a very big fear into the minds of the congressmen and senators. But in India, the ethics committee has not performed a very good role. So the ethics committee needs to be more empowered so that they can see the role of they can see the ruckus or the unruly behavior of the legislature. So this could be two other reforms that you can write. So That is all guys about this particular article. And now we will be moving to the next article, a very good article. And now let's be talking to the next. Meanwhile, we have a doubt. Sir, recently we discussed the article about how citizens can question the representatives. Was it about executives or the MLAs, MPs? Basically, both. Okay, you can question both. Fine. Okay, basically the article that 5,000 was there, it is about the MLAs and MPs. The mission 5,000 were discussed. So it was about MLAs and MPs, but in general, we need to question the all. So I hope this question is clear. Now, guys, moving to the next article. Okay, now this article again taken up from the Hindu newspaper, that is reaching out to the undesirables. Very good article, and we will utilize into the GS paper number 4, ethics, integrity, and aptitude. Friends, into the ethics, integrity, and aptitude, GS paper number 4, we are having a topic that is the ethics in international relation. So within the topic of ethics in international relation, we will utilize it. Now, what has happened, guys? See, basically, you know that we started to talk with the Taliban. Now, as we started to talk with the Taliban, there were many of the debate questions, many of the kind of viewpoints that were coming. When we were not talking to the Taliban, it was said that we should talk with the Taliban. When we started to talk with Taliban, some of the commentators, they said that India had taken an immoral path. They are talking with the terrorist organization. Now the question comes that what is actually the morality into the international relation? So all these things we will be discussing here. Now, guys, first of all, it is being said that the moral judgments into the conduct of the international relation, they actually rest on a slippery slope. Fine. Why? Because when the moral judgments are being concerned, we need to make sure that whether the moral judgments, they are devoid of the power politics or not. What it means, I will explain you into the simple terms. See, there are some kind of a moral judgments into the international relation. For example, there is a moral judgment that you should not talk with a kind of a terrorist organization. Now, there is an ABC organization which has been branded as a terrorist organization. Or basically, you can say that the XYZ Act is a kind of a immoral act. Now, while you decided that the XYZ is an immoral act, and when you designated ABC organization as a terrorist organization, whether you were concerned about your power play or not, it has been said that there are some of the countries which, just to preserve their power, manufacture their own moral standards, manufacture their own immoral standards. For example, guys, you can see that there is the USA. Now, USA is a kind of a country which had manufactured their own standards of morality and their own standards of immorality in order to just suit their own vendetta. For example, USA made an intervention into the Iraq. Why? Because they say that the Iraqi regime is an immoral regime, and in order to kill that immorality, we were intervening. But guys, at the end of the day, USA had their own ulterior motives into the Iraq. So basically, first of all, when you talk about the moral judgment, you need to think that whether actually these are the moral judgments or these judgments have been manufactured by some of a strong nation in order to preserve their own interest. Into this particular thing, guys, a reference has been given by historian E.H. Carr. Historian E.H. Carr, he says that it is a familiar tactic of the privileged to throw moral discredit on the underprivileged by depicting them as disturbers of the peace, and this tactic is as readily applied internationally as within the national community. Just the poor countries, just the unprivileged countries, you will say that they are immoral, they are a kind of a rogue state. We use the word rogue state, failed state, etc. On whom we are using these states? Onto the states which are disadvantaged. Why? Because you want to take some of an advantage, you just want to acquire their resources and all such kind of thing. So first of all, the question of moral judgment is need to be discussed. After that, guys, the next thing that comes here is that basically morality is often a product of power. Even though there are other sources of morality, but morality is the product of power. The country which is more powerful, he designs his own moral standards, and the countries which are less powerful, they just accept the moral standards which are dictated by the important countries. Guys, many times the national interest masquerade as the moral universalism. Fine, I want to preserve my national interest, and that I will put into a garb of a moral dictum, into a garb of a moral statement, and I will produce it as a moral universalism. Now, guys, moral universalism means that a kind of a standard which should be accepted by everybody. Now guys, what USA has done, USA has established the democracy as a kind of a moral statement or a moral judgment, and said that the democracy is a universally acceptable attribute. All the countries need to accept it, and the ones who are not accepting it, it is a kind of a immoral nation. So such is a kind of a standards that this is a kind of a moral universalism, a kind of a rule which is to be accepted by everybody. Now there is one more question comes. The question number one is that we need to critically evaluate that what are the moral judgments. Fine, we should not take every judgment as a moral judgment onto the face of it. Second question is that who is the rightful object of our moral opprobrium. Now guys, the opprobrium means the one who will be coming under a criticism. So with respect to the morality, who needs to be criticized? Whether always the non-state actors and individuals need to be criticized if they are not following the morality, or whether the states can also be criticized. Guys, many a times it has been seen that basically we criticize the individuals as well as organization onto the grounds of morality. But in fact, if we see in the reality, state have also done many of the immoral acts. We can see that the states basically they have done the violent behaviors, they have went into the proxy wars, but we don't question the state. Why? Because the notion of sovereignty comes. Sovereignty means the supreme power of a state. So onto the grounds of sovereignty, we don't question the state, but we question the other individuals and organization, and we designate them as a terrorist organization. But the article says that such kind of standards are needed to be imposed on everybody. Then next thing that is coming here is that, guys, when we talk about the state, okay, whether the states will be held accountable or not accountable, it depends on two of the factors. Number one, the military power of a state. Okay, now if the military power of a state is more, we will not be considering their actions under the ground of morality. We will not be taking any action onto them. North Korea could be an example into this direction. Second is the ability of a state to justify their own actions into a morally acceptable manner. Now the Sri Lanka, it committed the human right violation, and after that the Sri Lanka presented it that it is a kind of a legitimate matter and it is the matter of their own sovereignty. Is it clear? And even today the Sri Lanka is resisting that whatever they done into the Sri Lanka during the civil war, it was not a kind of an immoral action. So basically the states who can basically fabricate their human right abuses as a legitimate action into a more effective way, they will not be called under the moral light, and the others will be called in. Then the next, guys, here it has been provided that basically the concept of state socialization has been there. Now what is the state socialization? State socialization, it simply means that it is a kind of a behavior that is expected by a state. Now when we talk about that, when we are talking with the Taliban, or when we are talking about talking with any kind of a terrorist organization, it is called as an act of socialization. We are talking with the Taliban and we are teaching them that how they should behave into a capacity of a state. Now the Taliban will be ruling the Afghanistan, so the Taliban needs to act like a state. So what are the behavior of a state? That we need to teach them. So basically the state socialization is many times to be done of the terrorist organization. So therefore with talking with the terrorist organization becomes very much important. It has been seen that many times by the effective negotiation with even of the terrorist organization, the terrorist organizations had gave up their weapons and they have come to the peace. They have joined the mainstream politics. So therefore when we are talking with the Taliban, we are carrying the socialization, state socialization of the Taliban. It has been provided that actually we have three choices with the Taliban. Choice number one, we can continue to fight with them militarily. The second is that we can isolate and impose a sanction on the Taliban ruled Afghanistan. And the third is to socialize them. Now the first, that is fighting, and second, that is the isolating them, has already been done by the USA and USA had failed. So therefore now we need to socialize the Taliban, that what they need to do as a state. We need to teach that a good state ensures the justice of the people. Good states give the equality. Good states give the rights. So therefore what we are doing, we are now engaging them and we are carrying the state socialization of the Taliban. And this is exactly the point of the diplomacy. So now India should not shy away in talking with the Taliban. Rather, India should talk very openly and should teach the Taliban a state socialization and should not feel shy into that particular thing. Moreover, guys, a very good statement has been made here. That is, the international politics is not a site of perfect and the moral choices. Every state cannot always make the complete moral choices. Whether to make the moral choices or not, it depends on the geopolitical context as well as the historical location of a country. Now, India's historical location as well as the geopolitical situation is such that absolutely ethical choices we might not always be able to make. We cannot basically just always ignore the Taliban when the Taliban has come into our neighborhood. So basically, the moral choices, it also depends on the geopolitical context and the historical location of a country. So guys, these are some of the very good insights with respect to the ethics into the international relation that has been given. I hope you have understood it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article, it has been taken up from the Hindu newspaper, and here we have clubbed actually the two articles, as both of them are talking about the disabled people, their achievements, and many times the discrimination that is done to them. Now, first of all, guys, before going into this particular article, I would like to tell you some extra points with respect to the disability. First of all, when we talk about the disability, there could be the physical dimension of disability, and then there could be the social model of disability. Now, the physical model of disability, it means that you define the disabled population onto the basis of disablements, the handicaps that they are having. You define that a disabled people will be the person who is having this kind of disability, and third, you say that the locomotor disability is there, visual disability is there, or such kind of things. This is the physical model of disability. Guys, when we talk about the India, we have the Right of Person with the Disabilities Act. Now, into the Right of Person with the Disabilities Act, we had adopted the physical model where we have quantified the disability. Other is the sociological model of disability. Into this, we are not concerned about the level of disability, 40% disability, 20% disability, locomotor disability. Rather, into the social model of disability, we see that the discrimination that a person is facing due to a kind of a cripplement into the body, the lack of opportunities that are there, the basically dignified life which he is not getting. So this is the sociological model of disability. Now guys, around the world, it is being said that we need to adopt more of a sociological model of disability, and we need to give more and more dignity to the disabled people. You just don't see a person whether he is disabled or not on some few parameters. Now, that is one thing that is going on. Guys, with respect to the disability, if a question comes, you can please provide this particular dimension. Moreover, when we talk about the disabilities, there is the United Nations Convention on the Right of Person with Disabilities that we have also signed, as well as we have ratified, and as per this UN convention also, the disabled people are needed to be given the fair treatment. Fine. Now I will be coming on to this particular aspect later words also. Now, first of all, guys, it has been provided that the athletes who had participated into the Paralympics, they had performed very much good, and guys, they had won the 19 medals, and India has finished on to the 24th rank into the Paralympics. And guys, this is basically a very good performance. Earlier our best was the 4 medals that we got into the Rio de Janeiro in 2016, and now we had got the 19 medals. Now basically, these disabled people who participated into the Paralympics, they are representing the 2.2% of the India's population. Fine. We always see that the people who have been disabled, they face large number of challenges. Number one challenge comes is because of their bodily limitations. They are not able to cope up with so much of the demands of the sports. Then the second thing that comes here is that society, they have always a kind of a skepticism with respect to these people. Society always see these people with a kind of a stigma. Society never gives them a kind of a good dignity. So there is a social stigma also that they are facing. Then the third that comes here is that, guys, they also face the problem with respect to the accessibility. Find the public places have not been designed properly. The world has not been designed in a way that the disabled people can access it. Guys, a kind of an audit was done of the India's urban buildings in 2016, and according to this particular audit, it was said that the buildings are not having even a basic thing, that is a ramp that is needed for the disabled people. So therefore, the public places are not properly accessible. So the disabled people, they face the physical problem, social problem, and the problem of accessibility. When we talk about the disabled people into the sports, this particular year, the Paralympic Committee of India, the sports ministry, they had played a very much important role. Fine. And guys, they had provided such kind of an ecosystem that the disabled people, they had performed well into the Paralympics. We got the first medal into the Paralympics in 1972, and in 2021 getting so much of the medals is a kind of an achievement. Now it has been provided that, guys, first of all, the money that now will be given to the different sports person, the similar kind of money also needed to be invested into the sports infrastructure into the India, particularly the sports infrastructure for the disabled people, so that they get even more opportunities and they can present India into the further coming editions of the Paralympics also. That is one thing that has been provided. Now, guys, after talking on to this particular aspect, there is one more aspect or one more article onto the disabled people. That is uh, the guidelines with respect to the nursing council's guidelines that had recently come. Now, what is this particular matter? First of all, I'll explain you. Guys, recently, the Indian Nursing Council, it has made a kind of a notification in which it has restricted some of the reservation that will be given to the disabled people. It has restricted the scope of reservations to them. Now, this particular thing is being criticized. It is being said that you have reserved the reservation only to few kind of disabled people, but that is actually wrong. What you are doing, you are just interpreting the physical dimension of the disability. You just say that the people who have a particular amount of disability, for example, the 40 to 50% of the disability, and that too into the lower limb disability, they will be given the reservation. You are not basically understanding the social model of disability. Even if the less disability is there, a person has faced the discrimination, he had not got the dignity. You are not understanding the social model. Fine. So this particular action shows us this particular thing. Now, guys, you don't need to understand what were the guidelines given by the Indian Nursing Council, but you need to understand that still India is struck into the physical definition of disability and had not moved forward. These kind of decisions tell us this thing. So now the high time has come that we actually give more space to the disabled people, we understand their problem, and we come out with even more sustainable solutions that these people can be mainstreamed. Fine. So that is all about this particular article. Now, guys, if you want to know more dimensions with respect to the disabled people and the disabled people participating into the Paralympics, we have taken one article onto the 1st of September newspaper analysis. There we have seen two articles onto the disabled people. You can see that also a very good article indeed. So that is all about this article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article, it is talking about the national monetization pipeline. Now, basically, I think into the past few days, 8 to 10 articles onto the national monetization pipeline we have already done. Now, guys, into this entire article, there is no relevant and important substance with respect to the UPSC. This article is a very generalistic article. No substances there. So, guys, you can skip it. However, I will recommend you that you can go and see the 3rd September of newspaper analysis, where we have discussed that is monetization public asset a good idea. Both the positives and the negatives we have seen. So that was a comprehensive article, as well as one article on 31st August also we have seen with respect to the national monetization pipeline. This was also a very good article. So in this substance is not there. Rather, if you want, you can see these two discussions. They are good discussions. That is all, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, guys, this particular article taken from the Hindu newspaper, we have clubbed the two articles here, and with respect to the GS paper number 3, internal security, these are the important articles. So first of all, what they are talking of, what they are providing, guys, before that, I would like to give you one of a reference which you can use into your GS paper number 3. See, Kautilya, he had written into his Arthashastra. Kautilya wrote into the Arthashastra that a state could face 3 or 4 kind of different risks. Number 1 could be an internal risk. Number 2 could be an external risk. Number 3 could be the externally aided internal risk, and the number 4th is the internally aided external risk. And according to Kautilya, it was provided that the internal risk as well as the externally aided internal risk are the most important risk that a country can face. And when we talk about the India is facing a mix of all these kind of risks. And according to one of an estimate that is given by the IDSA, it has been said that the 252 of the country's districts out of the 640 districts, they are infected with the different kind of internal security risks. So therefore, guys, into this particular direction, what has happened now, a kind of a new risk is coming into the India. What is this particular new risk? The union government, they had warned that a increased infiltration could be there into some of the districts of Jammu and Kashmir as well as other parts also, because of the situation that is evolving into the Afghanistan. large number of infiltrants now will be reaching to the India and will increase the internal security problem. Into this direction, guys, already it has been flagged by the intelligence agencies that now the foreign insurgents, they have increased into the North Kashmir. Fine, more than the domestic ones, the foreign insurgents are increasing, and this could be a big challenge for the internal security nowadays. Now it has been provided that first of all, what has happened into the Afghanistan, the Taliban has become more powerful, and this particular thing can embolden and reinforce the ideologies of the leaders of the various outfits that are there in India, and they have been banned. So they will get an ideological reboost after the coming of the Taliban, and therefore they can increase their activities even more. Second thing that has been provided, that guys, what has happened when the Taliban was capturing the power into the Afghanistan, they have released a large number of prisoners who were lodged into the jails, and many of these prisoners were the foreign prisoners also. Now many of these prisoners might be coming into the India and will be providing the ideological support to the separatist insurgents who are already lodged into the India. Moreover, guys, they can also revive the organized crimes, the transnational network lines of the smugglings, counterfeit Indian currency, weapons, etc. So therefore the states need to be more vigilant. Moreover, at the same time, it is being provided that the cyber crime police also need to intensify their vigilance onto the social media so that they can check the communally sensitive content if it is going through the social media or not. So these are all the things that have been provided into this particular article. Now, guys, as the infiltrators from the Afghanistan might be coming into the India, and into this article, as we have seen that the foreign infiltrators had increased, what kind of threat we are seeing? We are seeing the externally aided internal threat as suggested by the Kautilya. Again, I'll say externally aided internal threat. So that is one particular very good important dimension that you can utilize in. So that is all, guys, about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article, it is talking about the logistic agreement with the Russia that will be signed very soon. Now, first of all, guys, what is this logistic agreement and what is its important? We will discuss it. See, when we talk about the India is aiming to become a blue water navy. Now, what is a blue water navy? Blue water navy is a navy which has the presence in all the oceans of the world. If you have presence into the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian Ocean, any of the sea, it will be given as a status of a blue water navy. USA is a blue water navy. India is aiming to become a blue water navy. Obviously, if you want to be a blue water navy, you need to have the access to the different ports and infrastructures into the different part of world. If you are going into the Atlantic, obviously you need the supplies, you will need the fuel, you will need many kind of assistance. So therefore, around the world, countries engage with each other and they signed a kind of a logistic agreement. By the logistic agreement, a country says that okay, we will provide you the port facilities and logistics facilities whenever your ship will be coming. Now, what we are doing, we are signing a logistic agreement with the Russia. Okay, that is the bilateral logistic agreement, as well as we are also signing a logistic agreement with the UK. Now, the logistic agreement with the Russia will be signed very soon, and the logistic agreement with the UK is into the final stages of discussion. Guys, if we take a formal definition of it, the logistic agreements are the administrative arrangements which facilitates access to military facilities for exchange of fuel, provision on mutual agreement, simplifying logistically support, and increasing operational turnout of the military when operating away from India. So if we will sign an agreement with the Russia as well as the UK, they will provide us the ports, the provisions, they will provide us the fuel and all such kind of supplies. Now India is signing large number of such logistic agreements into the last few years, along with the Quad countries, with the France, Singapore, South Korea also we are signing the logistic agreement. And guys, this particular thing started up from 2016 when the logistic exchange memorandum of agreement was signed in with the USA. At that point of time, it was criticized also. It was said that you are signing the agreement with the USA, rather the benefit will be of USA alone, because they will get your accessibility. You don't have even enough number of ships that will be going into the USA, will be docking around the USA. Fine, but guys, now India is moving forward and very ambitiously we are going into the direction of becoming a blue water navy, and we are signing such kind of agreements. Fine, the first one was with the USA in 2016. Now you need to also keep into your mind that guys, now we are coming out with our own our fleet of international aircraft carriers. Fine, and into that direction also such kind of agreements becomes very much important. So that is all, guys, about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now This particular article again taken up from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about the recent confrontation that has happened between between the Taiwan and the China. Now, what has happened, guys? Basically, 19 military planes have entered into the air defense identification zone of the Taiwan, and the Taiwan had said that these 19 military planes, they are from the China, and without taking any permission from the Taiwan, they have entered into the Taiwan's airspace. And this particular thing had done by the China earlier also. Basically, so therefore the Taiwan is also providing a kind of a strong response to the China. Now this particular thing, guys, is actually problematic onto the regional peace front. Now the China says this particular thing, China does this particular kind of things when the China is irritated from the Taiwan. Now it is not known that what has irritated the Taiwan, but earlier whenever the Taiwan has come closer to the USA and such kind of countries, China has done such kind of activities. Fine. Now here we can see that basically China describes these activities as necessary to protect the country's sovereignty and deal with the collusion between Taipei and the Washington. So China does this particular thing, and again such kind of issue had happened. So that is all, guys. Apart from this, nothing important apart from this into this article. So that is all, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, this particular article, friends, it is talking about a friendly nudge that has been made by the Chief Justice of India to the government. Now, what has happened, guys? First of all, we have seen that recently 9 names were cleared by the executives, and these 9 judges, they took the oath into the Supreme Court. At the same time, the collegium had sent many of the recommendations with respect to the appointment of the High Court judges also. So this particular article, it is talking about a kind of a friendly exchange that has happened between the Chief Justice of India and Shri Rijiju with respect to clearing the High Court nominations. Fine. So therefore, a kind of a friendly exchange has happened. Okay, and a nudge has been made that you should clear all the names that are there, because the independence of judiciary depends on to the strength of the judiciary, and the strength of the judiciary will only be coming when the appointments into the higher judiciary will be cleared. Right now, approximately 40% of the vacancies are there, and such they should be cleared. So just that kind of thing has been there. Apart from that, nothing policy and such kind of related matters has been discussed into this article. So just that is fine. And that is all for the today's newspaper analysis, friends, and we come to an end for today, guys. I hope that you are liking our initiative, guys. Please do hit the like button because it increases the reach of our initiative, and please do spread the word if you are liking it. That is all for today, guys. We will be meeting tomorrow. Meanwhile,